By our political analyst, Brian Sobel. Brian, let's talk about this Senate race. Obviously very closely watched and highly contested here. It sure looks like, based on the polling, that the Republican Steve Garvey and Democrat Adam Schiff appear to be headed for a face-off in November. But we'll have to see how things shake out tomorrow. You see any scenario where any of the two other Democrats can squeeze into that top two?
Well, I think Porter has run a good race, but if you look at how this has been transpiring, Adam Schiff has run a brilliant race around excluding his Democrat opposition in favor of the Republican. It's very simple as to why he's doing it, and that is because he knows that given registration, trends, everything else, Steve Garvey doesn't have a big chance in November. So Schiff has really been going after his opponents, and you see it in his media buys.
Yeah, critics, though, would label that as a cynical approach.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To campaigning.
Porter did, yeah. Absolutely.
Greg, though, let's just say that Garvey does, in fact, win tomorrow. What type of momentum do you believe that gives him heading into November?
Well, the numbers have all been there for Steve Garvey, right? He's gotten this race 5 months ago. The polls have continued to increase from him. Certainly Republicans and conservatives are coalescing behind him. But as Brian said, the numbers writ large for the state are not there. Registered Democrats outnumbering Republicans 2-1. We haven't seen a Republican win statewide office since 2006. So there's a lot of history and numbers against him. But if he does come in first tomorrow, it'll be a kudos to Adam Schiff's campaign and the ads that he's run. But you're right, he could see some momentum. The question is, will it be enough to get into November and have him be competitive there? The odds are against him.
Yeah.
And it has to be sustained over many months as Schiff begins the campaign against him.
But one thing to keep in mind is that he hasn't spent hardly any money.
No. And hasn't had to, because Schiff has spent $25 million in lifting him up.
Well, exactly. Every Schiff ad talks about Garvey.
Yeah.
So
he's benefited for free.
It's earned media in a big way.
Yeah, sure is. Let's shift, if we can, for a moment and talk a little bit about the presidential election here, because obviously we know tomorrow 15 states and one territory holding their primaries tomorrow. It feels like it's sort of the last stand potentially here for Republican Nikki Haley here. Do you think that there's any way that she can stop a Super Tuesday sweep by former President Trump?
Well, there are a lot of delegate votes tomorrow, enough to put Donald Trump, if he were to sweep, very close to the number. All eyes will be on American Samoa. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, really? I missed something.
I am kidding. No, I am kidding. No, if Nikki Haley, in all seriousness, were to take half those states, maybe she's got enough momentum to kind of take it a little bit further. But tomorrow may well be the end of the line for Nikki Haley.
Yeah, and if so, Greg, and we think what's going to happen tomorrow is what happens, right? And it's former President Donald Trump and President Biden. How do you see their strategies changing come Wednesday morning?
Well, both their camps have been looking forward to tomorrow, to sort of turn the page and focus on the general election. We saw them both at the border last week. They really honed in their attacks on each other, and this is very much going to become part of the story if things go how we expect, because there hasn't been a lot of drama at the top of the ballot, that they can focus now on the general, and they can figure out why 70% of Americans don't want a rematch between Trump and Biden.
Yeah, starting to kind of reshape those messages for both campaigns. Political reporter Greg Lee, our political analyst Brian Sobel. Appreciate you both being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.